Okay, just a few comments. I recorded a video. Something happened to it. I want to talk about the Cubs. And it's over, and it is officially wait till next year time, as it generally always is for the last 7 or 8 years now. About 107 years, I think. Uh, Wrigley Field is over 100 years old, and never a Cubs championship in it. At least this first time this year when they dispatched the Cardinals, it was the first time they had ever clinched any postseason thing there. So I guess that's history making. They did make a lot of history this year. The first time they ever faced the Cardinals in the playoffs, something that I never thought would happen. Since they went to the three division format in the leagues, I figured, either one or the other, but probably never both and. Uh, you know, Usually, except for this year, if the Cardinals get in the playoffs, just to be nice and good humored about it, I would root for them. Except when they played the Red Sox in '04. I got to admit, I was waiting for the Red Sox to break that streak of theirs and get a championship. Uh, uh, well, anyway, usually if the Cardinals are in the playoffs, I would root for them because that meant the Cubs were on vacation. That long winter vacation that they always get. Well, this year, it was a real conundrum. Always root for the Cubs no matter what, but it was kind of awkward. When they had to face the Cardinals. I mean, yeah, that was a historical first because the greatest rivalry and friendliest rivalry, really, between fans of two different sports teams would be the Cubs and Cardinals. Now, the Yankees and Red Sox, they appear to be a lot more in your face and everything like that. But the Cubs and Cardinals have always been a more friendly rivalry. And so I think it's better. But he's like, wow, they accomplished something that they've never done before this way. I mean, they dispatched two teams out of the playoffs, won a first clinching playoff series in Wrigley Field history by the Cubs. That was an awesome accomplishment. And a 97 win regular season, I would have took that going away if I'd known it in April. I would not have looked at how they started stumbling out of the gate. Oh no, normal Cubs year, It'd be a wonder if they get close to the break-even point even. And so I called it, that's it, they're done, it's over. And every step of the way since then, they've been, except for this last one, they've been trying to prove me wrong, and they've been successful. They went on a tear, almost a winning binge, mostly since like June or something. I mean, they didn't lose very many series from June on. I mean, yeah, right after the All-Star break was probably their worst little dip, and that was one of those, okay, it's over. I thought, man, they're done again all of a sudden. That's it, nosedive. And then all of a sudden, they turn it around, start winning again. And most of August, terrific. September, no September swoon. No completely used up by September this year. That's an acronym for Cubs in case you've never heard of it. Completely used up by September. I think our late great brother Ray, a Cardinals fan, I think he's the one that first told me that one. Anyway, he'd have been thrilled with this, except for the Cardinals losing, of course. I mean, he'd have been thrilled to see this playoff matchup and stuff go, and of course, he would have been on the Cardinals' side, and we'd have probably been razzing each other good-naturedly about it. But anyhow, 97 regular season wins, and after all, the bulk of baseball fandom is about the regular season. Getting the best record you can, try to win a division. That's the object. Win a division, get in the playoffs. A nice secondary goal, get a wild card slot, get in the playoffs. And again, most of the time in my lifetime, the Cubs have been, well, let's see if we can break even this year. Let's see if we can win 81 games and only lose 81. That's just not good enough, folks. If you're a team, should be trying to win most of the time. And so the break-even thing, and losing 90 or 100 games, and that's just ridiculous. In I think 1977, at one point in the summer, like July, I think it was, around All-Star break time, the Cubs were 25 games above 500. And I remember hearing Lou Boudreaux's commentary that once you're 2,500 games, or 25, why am I saying 2,500? Once you're 25 games above 500, that's why I wanted to say it. Once you're that far above 500, then you don't have to worry about the 500 mark. Well, that year they finished exactly 500, 81 and 81. And on the last day of the season, I still remember the announcer saying, they had to finish the season with a doubleheader, if memory serves. I still remember him saying, need a win to stay above 500. Well, it didn't happen. 81 and 81, and that was a successful Cubs season during the 70s, folks. Too much of this lovable loser stuff back then. What Jack Brickhouse, Vince Lloyd, and Lou Boudreau, and even Harry and Steve would have done with this season, if they could have been in the booth, still alive and kicking and announcing, they'd have been beside themselves over this team. This was, from what I can see, the best Cubs team I've ever seen. That 2003 team got closer within 5 outs of the World Series before the wheels came off. And like I tried to say when I recorded this earlier, and it didn't take for some reason, I will never, as long as I walk in mortal flesh, really understand that. I have never emotionally grasped it, and I have never intellectually been able to fathom it. It's like a guy running a marathon race, and he's about to win it, break the tape, whatever, and set a personal record, and just win the doggone thing, and he's about 2 foot from the finish line. He trips, falls flat on his face, and along comes someone else to win. That's about what it's like. And that's the consternation of Cubbies fans. That 2003 thing, the worst of all. I'm a little bit too young to remember the 1969 September swoon, but I think I looked it up once. At one point in September that year, they lost about 13 games in a row, and on came those blasted Mets. They were called the Miracle Mets, but really they were those blasted Mets. And here they are again. It was disgusting, It hurts. We all have a little bitter taste and a little emptiness, those of us that really cared about how this thing turned out. But we got to look at the good side of it. 97 wins don't come around that often. And if I recall correctly, I actually did get an over-the-air game, the one where Arrieta had the no-hitter. I hadn't paid much attention to that game yet, but I noticed on the computer on the Cubs website a little thing that said no-hitter in progress or something like that. And so I had to. I found out I could get it on our 17-2 on the digital over-the-air channel, which normally is Cozy TV in this area, but they put the Cubs on it, those games that they were allowed to carry, and I was sure glad to see it. And again, I saw that foul ball that Rizzo caught, and to me that was even better than the Arrieta no-hitter. That moment when Rizzo caught that foul ball, admit it, folks, I've never seen anybody leap onto the rolled-up tarp, which is, if he was a factory worker, that'd be a safety violation. Step on the top of the wall and literally stepped into the stands to catch that foul ball. He didn't just reach, he stepped into the stands. When I saw that, the live play, my first exact thought was Anthony Rizzo's for real. And seeing it, it loses a little something in the replays, and I've seen the replay of that many times. But I'll tell you what, my first impression stuck with me, and I still believe it. He's for real. Even if the rest of all of organized major league and college level sports, if it was all as fake as pro wrestling, my impression about Mr. Rizzo is he's for real. And he is the best Cubs first baseman since Mr. Buckner, and maybe even earlier than that. But Buckner was, up until this point in time, he was my all-time favorite Cub. And, hey, he won a batting title with the Cubs. What can you say? He was a great hitter in spite of a physical disability. Well, guess what? I recently learned that Mr. Rizzo survived cancer. Several years ago, he beat cancer. To do that and just to live is a victory. I mean, he's a winner in life just doing that. But to beat cancer and then be healthy enough to play Major League Baseball, now that is an awesome thing. And I'm glad for him that he overcame. And I'm glad for him that he's shown himself well this year's season. So, again, he's the best they've had since Bill Buckner. Better than Durham, better than Grace, better than anybody, better than Lee. He's just better than them guys from what I'm seeing. He's got the heart that the others lacked. Bill Buckner used to have to soak his legs in ice water to numb the pain enough to get out on the field. That's dedication. That's heart. You don't do that if you're just trying to get a check. You just don't do that. And probably my saddest moment for him was when he was with the Red Sox and he let that ball go between his legs. As super experienced and one of the greatest fielding first basemen of his time, ball dribbled between his legs. All of a sudden, the Mets win the World Series. Those blasted Mets. Why is there always the blasted Mets? Anyway, those doggone Mets. But that's how it works, I guess. Instead of Buckner being a World Series hero, what was his name? Howard Johnson, and that other guy, the guy that replaced Pete Rose at third base for the Reds when Rose left to go to the Phillies or whatever. That guy. Anyway, they were heroes, and Mr. Buckner was, his name was Mud, I guess, after that. But, that's the most memorable part of his career. But I remember seeing him smash the ball and win the batting title while playing for the Cubs and having to overcome the things that he overcame. That one play, though, vilified him in the minds of many forever. But, are you the hero or are you the GOAT? So, Cubs fans, enjoy a long winter's nap. Come spring training, you love the Cubs, hit it again. Win, lose, or rain out, whatever, I know you'll still love them anyway. So, just hard to shake that empty feeling right now. God bless and good night.